Hello guys.
Hi guys.
Hello, we were looking in each other's eyes then instead of in your eyes, but that's okay.
Happy Easter. It won't be Easter when you see this.
Happy week after Easter.
Yeah. Still the week before bank holiday. Actually, when this episode comes out, if all goes well, it's Alyssa's birthday.
It's my birthday.
So happy Alyssa's birthday, everyone.
I don't have any collagen left. It's weird to speak it in the future because it feels like right now in present day I have a week of collagen.
Well, you don't. You have 6 days.
6 days of collagen. But it feels like I'm manifesting it away for this last week by saying I don't have any.
Yeah.
How about...
But then it's not as clear cut as that, is it? Like you could, it's estimated that when you're 25 you have no more collagen, but you could be done or you could still have some time left. I
hope I'm not done.
It's not like a case of you wake up
on Saturday,
no more collagen, it's left your face.
And a fully formed frontal lobe.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? When you turn 25, do you notice it straight away? Or not? But there's lots of merit to being 25. It's a round number. It's divisible by 5. So it's a square, not a square number, but it's the product.
It's a square number, right? Because it's 5 by 5.
Is 5 the square number? Ooh.
No, anything's a square number if it's by itself.
So 25 is the square. 5 is the square root of 25.
25 is a square number.
Lovely. That's great, isn't it? So,
oh god.
We started on a great note, and I also want to point out one more thing.
Yeah.
Is things do feel a little bit different this week because of a different notebook. So
it does feel a bit weird, doesn't it?
Have you seen the quote on it?
What is it? The never left she persisted.
That's verbatim, exactly what it says. So, just a little manifestation, affirmation.
It's well suited for this episode.
Yes, absolutely. The vibe for all of you guys this week, regardless if you are she or not, nevertheless, she persisted.
Yeah.
And nevertheless, you will persist.
Yeah. Should we introduce ourselves?
I think that's great.
Yeah, on that note.
I'm Liz.
I'm Lily Emma.
Welcome back to Wrong Vibrations.
Yeah. Persistent vibes today.
We will persist.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens.
Yeah. This is Champagne Whispers episode 43, and we're kind of coining a phrase.
Yes. I've never seen... It definitely exists.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it does.
It's not quite in the public eye.
We all know about, the male gaze, the female gaze. How about the algorithmic gaze?
Yeah. So we're asking the question of would you still create if no one was watching? And we're thinking about the idea of this algorithm, or whether you're actually making stuff just for the sake of having people see it, or whether you're making stuff because that's what you truly want to do, and you're fulfilling that inner creative being.
There's lots of discourse both online and offline in our house about it. Right now everyone's talking about whether Addison Rae is authentic in what she's creating, or if she's just doing it because it's what's popular.
I've not seen that.
Or makes it look like she's got this niche, but that's really not her vibe. And in our house, we just notice things a lot. We just think and we talk. We are deeply involved in the creative realm, so we just see a lot going on from far and from close. That's all, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I have
You've structured the episode today.
I've structured the episode in 3 acts, if you will. So let us commence with Act 1, failure and embarrassment. So positive.
Yeah, starting off on a really light note.
Step 1 of posting to anything is kind of just going out there and doing it, but no one really thinks about the steps before that, the baby steps to work up to pressing post.
I think because social media is so normal and everyone has it and everyone does it, even if it's not on a creative or professional level, I think it's kind of minimized, and the idea of just pressing post is not a big thing. But I think the more you think about it and the more people speak, you realise that everyone thinks before they post, even if it's on a personal level. Alyssa hates posting on her personal.
I really
And that's
dislike
not necessarily something creative. It's just kind of, that is your personal
preferences to not.
Yeah. And I think because everyone has social media and everyone does social media, it's kind of like seen as just something natural. But I don't think it is natural to anyone. Like, I don't think anyone just like actually clicks post without thinking, oh, who's going to see this? Who's going to think something? Yeah.
No one truly, I think you would have to have an entirely removed sort of ego to post something and truly not consider the repercussions of it. You're gonna think, do I look okay? Do I sound okay? Is what I'm saying worthy, almost? And it's one thing for a private account where it's just your friends. It kind of won't really purposefully go beyond that. It's a whole different realm when you're kind of posting it to be seen by more people than who knows you personally.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, thank you. And I think when you're trying to be either a content creator, podcaster, have some sort of publication or something, that feeling is kind of tenfold. Because all the people from your personal life will be seeing what you do.
Yeah, I keep seeing at the moment a lot of influencers saying, oh my god, I can't remember what her name is. This is really going to bug me. But I've been seeing a lot of influencers say, oh, I actually was posting as an influencer before I had followers.
I've seen that.
Have you seen that? Summer Fox?
Potentially.
And she was like, I was posting as if I was an influencer before I was an influencer, because that's how you get your kind of foot in the door. And I think this is something we talk about a lot in various different forms. I think it's rooted in fake it till you make it, which, as you know, we're strong believers of. And
dress for the job you want, not the job you have online.
And I think it's really interesting to think about it in terms of social media and kind of pressing post, because it's almost like in making herself look like an influencer online, people could kind of, brands and like followers were seeing her as the potential of her being an influencer. Does that,
it's how are you ever going to present yourself in the way you want to be if you never do it?
Yeah.
You know, like if we were like, we want to be podcasters, we have to physically present ourselves as podcasters. We have to do that first episode straight away without that kind of fear of, oh, they look like they're trying to be podcasters.
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course we are. So other people can see us in that way.
Yeah, I also think it comes with anything, and this is why imposter syndrome is so rife. But I think there's such a shame in attaching like a title like to yourself, especially I think in creative spheres. I think it can be really scary to kind of be like, oh, I'm a podcaster. Like even now, sometimes I'll have like podcaster listed as my job because I'm like, that's just easier than saying like PhD and this and that. And sometimes I'm like, oh, but I'm not though. And it's like, well, you are. And I think people will have it with like musicians, like it's like, well, at what point can you call yourself a musician? Like,
if you pick up a guitar and you wrote one song, you're a musician, or do you have to wait until you get a record label or something like that to prove it's worthy of that?
And no one's gonna give it to you. I think at no point, I think maybe we probably have it more now that we have been podcasters for like 3 years. I think it's now more have it with like being a music journalist. And I've been trying like in my personal life and like when speaking to myself, I've been trying to say I am a music journalist. Like I am a journalist, because no one's going to sit there and call you a music journalist.
You just have to embody that.
Yeah, I changed my Instagram title to writer because I was like, that's what we are.
I think I've got writer/host.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes back to how you present yourself online, and you kind of just do need to fully embody what you want to be and have that really clear vision on what you want, because then it's not embarrassing. Because if you wholeheartedly believe in what you're doing, what you're posting, what you're presenting, then like that is that.
Someone asked me, because I think I have music journalist on Hinge. Someone asked me the other day, like, who do you write for? And I felt very taken aback. Yes, because like the answer is the publication is Blonde Vibrations.
Yeah.
But I think what they were expecting is, you know, like dork or something. Yeah. It's like, well, no,
that's cooler.
Sorry, we are, you know, self-published. That's also okay.
Yeah, we filled out a form the other day that was like, what is it like? What is your commissioning editor's name when we were just like self.
Like that is Lily, Emma and Liz.
Yeah, and I also felt it when we when we addressed that it's us who does the emails, and when we're like, there's only 2 of us, so only one of us does this job, like it does feel like that's almost less worthy. But I think the more we speak to other creatives, it's kind of like, well, actually that's more worthy because you're doing everything. And I can't remember if you've mentioned this on the podcast, but we were speaking to some industry people and they were like, so how does it work? Like, what is your team situation? And we were like, we do everything ourselves.
Like,
we have editor Becky who edits like the long episodes, but yeah, like we do the posts, we do the writing, we plan the episodes, like we don't have a producer, like and they were like, wow. And I think from where you get so used to kind of just making do with what you can, you kind of and then get 3 years in and you're like, whoa,
no, you did that.
You're like, yeah, all of a sudden we're kind of like substantial. But like in my head we're still the same people that soft launched the podcast when we had no leg in the music industry.
And it comes back to the point of everyone has to do that first thing that could be seen as embarrassment. We don't like to perceive that the word cringe really exists, but there is a level of perceived cringe for doing that first post. So we thought we'd take a little trip down memory lane of when we first kind of launched the podcast in itself. We clearly had 0 followers. I don't even
really think we knew that many people. Like, and even in our like social, like we didn't have that many friends.
No, and also considering it wasn't going to be a podcast, it was a radio show, and we decided to market it with just various pictures of Sex and the City and maybe Gossip Girl. It was just a couple of things. It was like a row of Samantha and the girls.
Samantha and the girls
saying coming soon, and then it would be, you know, a selfie of us coming soon, and then eventually it was launched as like, we're going to be on the radio for 1 hour per week, and it's like, why did you make our Instagram for 1 hour of our time?
And we were so ahead of our time as well, like, and I feel like we sometimes say this, and I never want to seem big-headed, but like people weren't doing it, and it's really hard to say that when like radio has always been around, but we started it kind of towards the like later end of COVID, and like people just weren't really, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the music journalists and a lot of the presenters were people who really went the traditional route, and they went to uni for journalism and then they interned at BBC, and do you know what I mean? It was very much that is the route, and especially in our first couple of years we were like, whoa, we feel really out of place because we're this really like unconventional, like we just like music and we're not musicians, and we just kind of have the like want to do it.
We don't have a formal background in it, but we have the passion that will like power us through whatever situation we didn't know existed.
And I think since then, I think it's great. Like I'm absolutely not like looking at it in like an egotistical or like a way. I think it's awesome, but I think everyone now can do it, and everyone does do it. I think the amount of accounts online now that review music and interview people, like I think it's great how much more accessible it is.
Yeah, and you can make it whatever you want it to be, because it can either be, you know, I'm at uni and I need a creative outlet, so this is what I want to do on the weekends or throughout the summer when I'm not at school or whatever, like that's what I choose to do. Or I want to make this my long-term, full-time thing at the end of the day. I want it to be my career. You can kind of, it's accessible to a point now where you can make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, and I think it's so great that it is so accessible that you can't let yourself be embarrassed by wanting to do it, because it's so easy to like dip your toe into journalism or dip your toe into being a musician nowadays, that there shouldn't be embarrassment by it, because anyone can do it, and if anyone is to make fun of you, it's like, well, they didn't do it.
Well, it's like everyone wanting to basically be Zoella, and then a couple of years later everyone wanted to be Molly May. Well, post the YouTube videos then. You're going to have to post it at some point. You can't keep it within you that I want to be a YouTuber. You are going to have to put yourself on YouTube then. And I think learning publicly how to navigate that and find out what suits you and what you enjoy doing, it's courageous to do it there in front of everyone, where anyone could be saying anything about you at any point, and you kind of have to let it water fall off a duck's back in that situation.
I have such like a like this random memory that just came back to me, and it's like not quite relevant. It feels a bit rogue to bring up, but I used to have like classical singing lessons when I was in school. I remember I was in a class once, and we had like quite a big music department in my school, and we had like a music corridor that was just like full of like music practice rooms. And I remember I was in a class once, and these like boys, it obviously wasn't personal because you couldn't see who was in there. These boys walked past and were like kind of taking the mick a bit and like imitating. And I was quite like a quiet kid, and I was quite a nervous kid. And my and I was so embarrassed at the time. My music teacher went outside and was like, do you want to come in here and do that then? Like, do you like, you're making fun of her, but like you're not doing it. Like,
can you do it better?
Like, you can't. She's put years into this. You're going to stand out there and take the mic. Like she's doing good, you're not doing anything. Like, you're just walking through a corridor. And at the time I was, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. Like, it's not that deep. Like, ill. And like, and I've not thought about that moment in probably 10 years. And as we're talking about this, I'm like, it's that moment. And I don't think at the time I appreciated that thought went into my head, but I think subconsciously it did. And I think since then, and I've done a lot of work, in my 20s, I guess, of like not feeling embarrassed. And I think embarrassment is normal, but I've worked really hard to have the thought of like, nothing's embarrassing because you decide what's embarrassing. Yeah. And I have remind myself of that. I remind people of that all the time. Is that I'm like, you decide if it's embarrassing. If you're not embarrassed by something, it's not embarrassing, because like embarrassment is such a self-feeling. So like, if you're feeling embarrassed by posting, like, it's only you that's coming from that, because other people aren't doing it, so they can't say anything.
And also the fact that people might be saying things isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Again, like you've just said, like, while that could be perceived as bad, it's rooted in some sort of jealousy, or just that they can't do what they would want to do without feeling that level of embarrassment.
I also kind of think that, and this is now away from the metaphor, but I think people can't actually make fun of you of what you're doing with your whole chest. Like, I remember slightly thinking when we started the podcast, oh, people are going to listen to it and make fun of us. And we've said this before as well, is that people would say, oh, I've listened to the podcast, and we would kind of go into the conversation and think they were joking and think they were like going to take the mick a bit. No one ever did. And I think that's not us saying, oh my god, we were like amazing and everyone was like shocked, but it was almost like there was no gaps for people to make fun of us, because we didn't leave them, because we
did it with conviction.
Did it with so much conviction that I think like everyone could kind of just like, you just have to respect it, that like the insecurity wasn't there for anyone to be like, that's really like lame.
And even if people were saying things, no one would dare say it to your face. A lot of the time that is the case. With you at school, they didn't know it was you, it was behind a wall, like you said. I think a lot of people in this day and age would not come up to you. I don't think they would come up to us now and be like, you know, the podcast that you do, or like, that's so dumb, like, that's stupid. They wouldn't do that. No. A lot of people like are very much staying in their own lane now, what they want to do. Yeah. Of course, there's always the tattle life of it all. I was actually telling my brother about tattle life yesterday, about Sophia and Cinzia. If embarrassment was a reason to stop something, Sophia and Cinzia would have stopped a long time ago. Yeah. The amount of people that have something to say about every little thing that they do and will just chip away negatively with gossip about every decision they make, or even just what they find funny in an episode, or what did they do in an episode, is crazy. If they stopped just because people were talking about them, our world would come crashing down. Yeah. And they wouldn't do it.
I truly believe that, to a certain extent, all press is good press. I think if someone wants to listen to, and I think maybe this is why we always had this opinion with the podcast, is I was like, well, if someone wants to listen to it and make fun of us, it's a view. And it's like, I don't care. Like, you've clicked play. Yeah. It's a view now. You're a number in our statistic.
Yeah. Because we're not selling a product in a way of, you know, we make t-shirts, so if people are just saying it's a bad t-shirt, we don't get a sale. If you have something to say about what we're discussing, well, yes, we are discussing things for the point of conversation. If you disagree, or, you know, you weirdly make a valid point against us in a way, okay, we take that. Cool, that's great. Thank you for contributing to what we do. Yeah, cool.
Absolutely. I have more to say, but I feel like it will like transition into the next one, because I have more to say about the kind of thing we were talking about yesterday. But I'm like, I can see the movement, and we're like 20 minutes in. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Act 2. Pressing post to no followers. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to get trapped in the jail.
Our favourite phrase, there could be 100 people in a room, but if that one person, I can't even recite it, but all it takes is one person to
see it, to...
I don't know.
You
Becky, the Lady Gaga quote.
It's... Oh no. It's 100 people in a room. It just takes one to notice you.
Yeah.
And...
This is so annoying. She's said it so many times.
I know.
How do you not have it? But anyway, that's our like favourite thing, and I think we lead with that in everything we do.
Yeah, and I think it's because we don't live life for this algorithmic gaze. The question is, would you still be making it if no one is watching? Because there will be a huge period, and it will be a different amount of time for everyone. Some people might blow up overnight. For the huge majority of people, it takes 10 years, you know.
It's also
Amelia, like Chicken Shop Amelia, she was doing it for so many years before it went big. Chapel making music for so many years. Sabrina only got her big break last year. It takes different amount of time for everyone.
It's also like takes this like title is like no followers as like an umbrella term. Do you know what I mean? Like if you feel like you're posting to no one at the moment, you could get 10,000 followers overnight. And you could then go from like getting 10,000 views on every post you do to getting like 300 posts. Do you know what I mean? Like take it as like, rather than like no one, take it as just like low moments.
It's not linear. It's not like you'll always go up and as soon as you reach
1,000
followers you then get 1,000 views. It ebbs and flows.
I think we're really weirdly like I'd love to do a like study on our attitudes towards social media, because we're so kind of, I think we are attached by numbers to a certain extent, but we just don't care. And we say this a lot to people where we're like, I actually, like, I don't get that down about numbers. And we say it to like friends and they'll be like, wow, how do you do that? And we're like, I don't know. And I think it's not necessarily as we're getting on, and I think you do start to get a bit twitchy, being like, oh my God, I've been doing this for like 3-4 years and like no one cares. You know, you obviously do have those moments and you do get itchy, but I'm also, I don't know, I just believe that eventually things will take off, and I think the moment you start thinking and measuring your success by numbers, you've set yourself up for failure, because the way that social media works is that you will not be on an upwards climb. Like, you will not be. I don't think, I'm sorry to like use her as an example because I don't even mean this, but I don't think Amelia is on an upwards climb. I think she's had dips. So even since she's like, her platform is blown up, like even then I think she's had dips, and to her those dips probably felt huge. To no one else, to everyone else, they didn't notice. And I think the moment you start measuring your success and how many people care by how many people view your things, I think you've set yourself up for failure, and you've set yourself up for like really unhappy creation. It's something that, again, I've been struggling with like the Instagram. The reels do so badly. Like I can't like do it. Like I can't even lie. They do so badly. They get like 300 views. That's like a fraction of our followers. It's a fraction of how many people used to see them. But to me, I'm like, I like how they look. I like what they do. I'm gonna keep posting them, and I don't want to change that. And eventually, people will see them.
I think it always goes back to the fact that if no one was watching, we would still do this because we enjoy it. I will never criticize what we do if there's moments of us having low viewership or less engagement. The second that you start to look inwards and dislike what you're creating because of outwards perspective, the outside is not going to enjoy it anymore, because it's going to become this sense of negativity that no one wants to see. You don't want to go onto someone's page and they don't like what they're doing. They think it's bad. If you're not backing your own content, no one will ever want to back it for you.
I'm so sorry to say this, because this is a real hard truth, but people can tell if you're panicking online. Like, people can tell if you're grasping at straws. People can tell if you're doing things for the sake of it. And that's such a horrible thing to think, but it's so true. like, you can tell.
Yeah, and I think there's the difference between, you know, having lower moments where you're not as confident and then this, like, flapping. In the last few weeks, I've really not enjoyed posting to TikTok as much, as in putting my face online. I kind of almost wanted to take the step back. I didn't feel as confident in myself to put it online. That's okay. And actually, TikTok-wise, we've had a really good few weeks, and you would never know that there's been that almost level of hesitation, because it kind of just worked organically in the way it was supposed to anyway.
Whereas if you panicked...
If I panicked and thought, well, I'm going to have to post something. I don't want to, but I'm going to post something because there has to be a number attached and there has to be clicks for the week. I don't think it would have done as well.
Yeah.
In this example, I just kind of had to post without the thought there.
Yeah.
And it worked. It might not have, and that's also fine. Then you take the step back and reevaluate. But you can definitely tell, I agree, when someone's, you know, not all in with what they're posting, because you'll see the quick switch up and everything, and we'll go on to that a bit more later.
Yeah. And I think there's a balance to strike between, going back to this idea of while you're posting and no one's listening, I think there's a balance between following algorithm trends and keeping true to yourself. And I think, like, in some cases you can sit there, you know, you can sit there like I am and being like, I'm not going to change how we post our reels, because in the wider scheme, I think that works for our brand, makes me happy.
The right people are seeing
it. And I think that I'm being really rigid, and I don't care if that's not the trend. I don't care if the little AI machine that decides what gets pushed on Instagram doesn't like it, because I like it and I care about that, versus, like, you know, this is doing well on TikTok, so I'm going to do this version because this is what's getting pushed. Do you know, like, there is like a slight balance there where you're still staying true to yourself and you can make these trends work for you, but also you're being smart about it. And I sometimes feel like when we sit here and we yap about how much you just need to do what you believe in and stay true to yourself, it kind of seems a bit naive. And I never want us to seem like that. We're not naive, and we're not just sitting here and waiting for our break to happen, because I don't think that's how the world works. But I think there's a balance between doing what you want to do, staying true to yourself, but also being strategic to a certain degree of this is how you push something to want to do it full time. And that only applies if you want it to go full time. If you truly are just like, I just want to do this because I want to do this, then this does not apply to you, because it doesn't matter if no one's seeing it.
I think the whole essence of this is that the internet and trends are so unpredictable. There's no point basing your whole content on what is going to be trendy. If you've seen an area or format of content go viral and you think, I'm going to base everything on that, in the time that you're planning it and trying to build it, the trend will switch. You know, these are all kind of fickle things that if you're basing it on that entirely, that's not going to work for you. If there's, I don't know.
It's so unpredictable.
If there's a type of interview, you know, like Nardwuar or something, if we saw that, we love Nardwuar's interviews, we kind of like verge on the realm of, you know, like the deeper sort of style interviews. If we thought we are going to basically frame for frame copy that in a different context, that's not going to work. No. People know Nardwuar, and by the time we've built up enough to frame by frame do that, the next interviewer who does it in a whole other way is going to have just risen up overnight. And what, you're going to switch everything to do that too? No?
The idea of things being successful are too unpredictable for you to copy, and I think this is a real problem in creators, I think, is that a lot of people want to do this. It's now the trendy thing to do, to the point where people just see what other people are doing and are like, I'm going to do that. And you see it a lot with, specific interview styles. You can see it when you do the cutaway, like Amelia. Like, you can see it. And it's like, well, actually, that only actually works for Amelia. That doesn't work for you. It's like,
there's the whole context behind how she's doing it, how it's produced, and why in the location with the artist.
And it just doesn't work. And I think there's this real idea of, I'm just going to copy and paste and it's going to do well, and it's not going to do well, because the whole reason that we all struggle with creating things is because the algorithm doesn't make sense. And everyone ever will tell you that. Speak to anyone who posts on any platform in any form. I speak to people at work about it, people who work in social media, and they're like, I don't get it. Like, I can't predict it. No one can predict it. AI can't predict it. Like, there's no science. There's no point you trying to base your whole thing off, or this worked for this person. That goes for trends, and I think that's why you can't fall into that pattern of, I'm just going to keep going with these algorithm trends and this is going to work. You just need to do what you want to do, kind of drop in little trends from time to time, and something will stick at some point.
Because, let me tell you, I posted 2 TikToks in one day, and they were both to the same trend, kind of similar. Not, one after the other that the algorithm clocked it, but just to test, how differently they would kind of compare to each other. One got maybe, 700 views, great in itself. One got 4.6 million views, and we gained 500 followers from that, because you can see. You can't tell. That's the same trend. And you still don't know how that's going to perform just because some of them are doing amazingly. Do we address the elephant in the room now? Of, if there's no followers, what do? Do you buy followers? No.
Don't do that.
Don't buy followers.
Yeah, there's one thing worse than no engagement, and that's fake engagement.
Fake love.
Yeah.
Fake views.
And it ruins your algorithm.
It does.
And it's so, like, I remember we've sat down multiple times when, like, oh God, wouldn't it just be so much easier just to buy followers? Like, not seriously, but like I wish I could just click my fingers and all of a sudden we've got 10k followers, because that's what people look at. People will see you have 10k and they're not going to scroll through your following and think, oh, well, these accounts are all bots.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to gain a following quickly or just full stop. However, I had to write this down because I wanted to articulate it correctly. I just hit the microphone. I personally believe that fake followers are just a short-term, superficial solution to posting to no one. You may seem like you've had great growth really quickly, but actually, to the digesting viewer that is then going onto your page or your podcast or whatever, yes, you have a huge following. Where are they though? Why are they not engaging? Why are they not commenting or sharing? You have the big flashy number, but they're not really there in the day-to-day works of what you are doing and producing. So did it really help you? Probably not.
Yeah, I think it's that care of wanting a conversation, and I think that's why you should create content. Is you don't want to create content just for people to look at you kind of want to contribute. And I think this is I think there's another episode to be had about like the ego in online creation, so I don't want to get too far into it, but I think for me the most meaningful creation, again regardless of what creative field you're in, is to contribute something and to have that return. As a musician, you want someone to sit there and be like, this song means so much to me, because even though it's about your experience, it's the same with us on this podcast. And I think in buying followers and having fake engagement and doing like for like and things like that, I think you're not having that conversation, and so what's the point? I think in a world where social media is so fake and so bland and mind-rotting, if you've got the opportunity to create and have something real and have something organic and have that relationship, why would you ruin it by just having a number? I hate that part of social media that's just numbers. I hate it.
I would rather have less followers that do commit to the content entirely and engage with it, and it might not be every day, you might not always see them, but when you meet someone or they DM you, sometimes we'll get DMs just being like, just binged all of your content, or like, loved this, found this through one of your Champagne Whispers episodes and all this. Like, we get that fairly frequently. Again, not big-headed to say, it's just the truth, and we don't have mass following. I think I would rather that than look as if we've got 20k, but there is no one there. Like,
and people can tell, again, like, it's some form of comfort as well, like tearing everything down, is that we don't have the highest following. Trust us when we speak to industry people, when we speak to other creatives, they can see the the authenticity in what we create, the way people engage and the way people care. People will care about an episode that got 100 views because the 100 viewers is actually going and checking out that artist, and it's actually meaning something more than if we released a bland interview that didn't really unlock anything and got like 10k viewers. Like, people care more that what we're doing is substantial than just numbers.
I think it's why a lot of people also like their niche micro influencer online, because there's less people there, but what they're getting is a lot more tangible. They feel a lot more down to earth with the person that's creating than just this mass figure, which is also great. Like, no one's ever going to turn down getting big and known for their craft. Like, of course, that's in some way to everyone a bit of an end goal, again, because of the ego that we'll talk about in another episode. But whilst you're still down in the trenches of really trying to grind and make your craft what it is.
I kind of love the creation when no one's watching. I think I prefer seeing that than someone who's really polished. I think sometimes when people get big, it does feel a bit less personal. Even if you're not necessarily engaging with the creator, it just kind of doesn't feel relatable. And I kind of love... I think it's why we're so candid with growth and with creation, is because, like, there's something so fun and something so pure in that, of just... And I feel it with, like, the smaller artists we speak to and that we're friends with. Like, I love seeing, you know, them do the smaller venues and then go up a step. I just love seeing the growth, and I love seeing the journey. And I think if you're to skip those steps, I think it's a real waste.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that's why, like, micro influencers is such a big thing at the moment. It's because in a world where all influencers are huge and they live in really nice London flats and they've got loads of filler in their face and think like everyone's the same, I think people are now going down a level and being like, okay, but like, where are my people? Like, the influencer has become such a big stereotypical person that people don't see themselves in them anymore. Like, you even see people like Flossie, who was so like just one of the girls and is now just like not. And that's no hate to her, but she's like you're not going to see you in the pub.
Just a different type of
like
now.
You're just in a different like bracket now, and you like that. You don't have the same relationship with the audience because you can't, because you are so big. And I think it's inevitable that you can't keep up that really like candid openness because you've got so many people watching you. You just can't do it anymore. And that's not a fault on her, that's not a fault on the audience, but it's just the nature of growth and the nature of the figure of the influencer being like a full-time job and celebrity status now, is that you are now a celebrity, whereas before you were a girl who was like getting ready for nights out and like you could have seen her in the local club.
I think, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this correctly, you're more likely to kind of stay the person you always were, even if you become a huge mega celebrity, if what you were creating in the first place is authentic. If you were, and this kind of goes into act 3, so hold your horses, if you switch up what you're doing all the time, if you get big, who are you? Without switching all the time, you can't do that in front of a huge audience.
And I think that's why I like it, because when you see creators, artists at the smaller stage, you really know who they are, what they are, what their vision is. So then when you see them do those things, I mean, I suppose like you got a part of that.
Well, I thought this creator was way bigger, so forgive me if you don't know who I'm on about. Have you seen the girl on TikTok? And just every day it's a bang reveal, and she's like around New York, I think. She just goes out every day and she just reveals her fringe for the day. If it's a good day or a bad day, it's based on that fringe. There is no way that she could have predicted that was going to make her, I think she got like 50k or something. There's no way she could have known that some of those videos would go viral.
Well, I think about Ames as well. Like what are the odds that trinket core became a trend and Ames was already making trinket core videos? Like, she's been collecting these things, the thing just happened to trend and she just happened to go with it.
Well, I saw this creator the other day. She's probably got maybe 6 videos. She might have deleted ones from before, I don't know, but she's got 6 videos and they're all doing really well. She's got like 80k because she's made a small, almost like Lizzie McGuire version of herself. So she's doing just a really small part of a day in the life, but it just cuts away to the Lizzie McGuire version of herself talking about
I
the day.
love that. I've not seen that.
It's so
and also
cute.
that woman that keeps sending you with that song that's like, move on to the next.
Do I know this?
Yeah, she's got the tattoos on her legs.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw a video of her talking the other day, just being like, I never expect, like, I don't know why you're all here. I wasn't expecting. And the pom-pom lady who makes the pom-pom, she made a video like it the other day being like, I don't know why you're here. Like, the pom-pom lady was like, oh, like I don't know if you've accidentally followed me, but I just make pom-poms. Like, I don't know, this isn't exciting. And I think there's something so joyous about people just doing what they like and then it taking off rather than the figure of the person trying to grasp at straws and thinking, maybe this is the one that will make me go viral, maybe this is the one that's going to make me money.
Yeah.
You see straight through it. And I feel like so mean for saying all this, but like, people see it. You will meet people, you will speak to them, they will walk away and be like, oh,
no, what was
like
what just happened?
like that person is so inauthentic.
Yeah.
People see through it. And I think if you there's a difference between that and faking it till you make it.
Definitely.
Because faking it till you make it, you have the passion. Grasping at straws and hoping one will make you money or get you viral is so empty that you can't see past it.
It's just like one-dimensional, isn't it?
You've just got like a wall there.
So I suppose this does introduce us to Act 3, giving up when progress is gradual, or sometimes when there's no progress at all.
Yeah.
Because we do see a lot of people that do start a project, this big flashy thing, they market it, and because they didn't get that immediate gratification, they just drop it and go on to the next one. They've not given a fighting chance for this project or brand or business to evolve and, you know, give people a chance to catch up with it. You thought this was going to be the next big thing that everyone's going to be talking about in a week, just because, you know, what your fate was laid out for you, if you believe in this, that it was going to happen in 8 months' time. You can't know that, but that was what your path was. You just took a left and steered off onto a whole new path because you just didn't give it that chance for it to blossom. It's like, do you remember that like meme or whatever it was of the person chipping away at the mud, and there was
line.
and there was a load of diamonds on the other side, but they just turn away before and the next dig was the diamonds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and this isn't to say that we're against people just trialing things out and doing new projects as a thing. Blonde Vibration is multiple different things. You know, we've got Champagne Whispers. We could at some point pick back up the Platinum mixtape. We've got
we love an
Tuning
addition.
In, something else, and it's like, and I think that's not to say that if you're trying out different projects under the same guise, you're evil and you're lazy and you're just trying to grab followers. But it's doing it with your whole chest and it's keeping going with it. I'm not saying that every episode we are going to do is going to be tuning in and eventually that will get 500,000 views and everyone who's on it will go viral and we'll all be amazing. I'm not saying that, but I think you need to keep going with it at a healthy pace and the natural pace, and that's how you grow a project. It's not like we weren't going to announce tuning in and it was going to go viral. We never expected it to, but each time we do it, it gets a bit further.
It's because it's authentic and it's just an addition to what we are and what we believe.
And that's what a project should be.
Yeah, I don't think you should entirely rebrand every 2 months to cater to the masses and cater to what you think is trendy and what's going to be that thing. You know, the thing before didn't work, so I'm going to drop it all, do a 180 to an entirely different realm, because that might just be the thing. You know, if I could just get it over with and go viral and then that's my start, like that's not correct, and that might be fun for you at the time, but is it fulfilling you? Possibly not.
Yeah, I think it might be a case of, and we've actually advised people on this before, is that seeing your projects as an add-on to you as a person, even if like you're not the face of a project, you need to see a project as something you do, not something you are. And I think that's why Blonde Vibrations really works, is that like, we are Blonde Vibrations, everything we do falls under Blondtopia, but we have our different avenues. And I think the problem comes is when people place too much emphasis on the project to be that's what's going to make me go viral and that's what's going to make me successful. Whereas if you just saw it as like, this is an add-on to me as a person or me as a creator, if something doesn't do as well, you can hold on to it. I think it's the same if you're a musician. Like, again, I don't know if this is like offensive to say, but like if you're like, I want to be a musician, but while your solo career is taking off, you're a session musician, or you're, I don't know, writing music for people, or you're producing, like, you can hold those multiple different like hats, but you as a person, you can add up all the success of that, and that will mean more than if you were just like, I'm a musician, and that's all I am, and I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm going to ring it until it's done, and then I'm going to drop it because I'm not doing as well, and then I'm going to start from spot one again because actually that's not working for me, so I'll be a songwriter.
You can be jack of all traits if you're nurturing all of the traits and treating them with respect, because again, and we've said this on here before, content creation or media creation, anything creative, it's all optional. If you are not treating what you are doing with respect, you're not treating yourself with respect, then you may as well not do it. You don't have to. You can just log off or put the guitar down. It's fine. Like, no one's forcing you to strum that guitar or, you know, review that album. You don't have to do it, but you want to. So why are you not treating it with the respect that it deserves? And, you know, if 6 months go by and you've still got 10 followers, of course you would like to see things getting better, knowing that you're doing it for something. This isn't what that argument is. The argument is you get to the point and think, nah, I should do the next thing then. That's not right. It's not correct. You shouldn't do that. Why? You owe it to yourself to see something through. Yes, you might get to a point later on where other things in your life you think, you know what, that's not for me anymore. That's okay. But why stick your thumb in every pie when you don't even like the pies? You don't like cherry pie, so why are you doing it? Don't eat it. It's fine. Yeah,
absolutely. I think as we like start to round up, my like final thought, and it actually brings us back to, I guess, this idea of the algorithmic gaze, is that algorithms, and like my final point is algorithms like consistency and they like frequency. So while you're working towards something and you're not reaching anyone and it feels like you're just speaking into the void, every time you speak into the void without trying, you're helping your own algorithm. And I think that's something that I get a lot of peace from, is that every time I post and it reaches 100 people, the algorithm will eventually pay it back, and without me having to think about the algorithm, it's cycling round, and eventually it will help your account grow, even though what you're doing isn't through that algorithmic gaze. You're just posting what you want to post. It will eventually come back around.
I agree.
I also want to say, think of it as a digital portfolio. That helped so much more when I stopped thinking about each post going viral and rather the like
what it looks like.
Yeah, especially with Instagram. Instagram's so different to TikTok. I think because we split the socials, I see the Instagram as like, this is just my digital portfolio. It's showing things. That's that. The numbers don't mean anything to me because everything that you need to see is on there.
I told you this quote earlier, so I will say it again because I do feel like it sometimes feels like we harp on people and the negatives are like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You also just should. Just do it in the way that feels natural and right to you. Be authentic and respect the people in your community and yourself. What was the phrase? Perfectionism is procrastination in a nice dress or something to that effect. And I do feel that's true. If what you want is out there and you want to go and grasp it, you working so hard to just make it viral and just make it in a way that the people that are trendy right now are going to fall for it, and it's really not you at all, it's not going to work at all. You're not putting anything out in that sense. You may as well just, fail publicly and laugh about it and just be. And
if you're failing, no one's going to remember it.
No. Oh, and then it comes to the other quote that we saw. What was it? No one will remember if you failed, but you'll remember if you never tried.
Yeah. Amazing.
I'll be here all night.
Got all the quotes in.
I'm surprised I even remembered them.
Yeah, incredible work.
So that's my book closed.
Yeah, we absolutely have more to say about this.
We always do.
We'll do 1,000 episodes on this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes we say, you know, we don't want to call anyone out. This is one of those times where I actually do feel, if you think you are being called out, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Because these
Take the advice.
Yeah, like these are things that everyone is saying and you can learn from. If you feel that these negative sides to content creation, you have fallen into this well of it, you can climb your way out. Like, it's not the be all and end all. You won't forever be this inauthentic person. You can find your niche and nurture it and become someone that is a credible, reliable, good creator.
Yeah.
Tyler the creator. That's who you can be.
We need to go. We're keeping Becky from her life. But thanks for watching.
I really enjoyed this one. Send this to your favourite niche creator and someone who you think is fake online.
Yeah, absolutely. Wherever you're watching this, give us 5 stars or a like, because it really helps us be pushed by the algorithms.
Not the algorithms.
Make sure you follow us. We have Instagram, blonde_vibrations. We have TikTok, blonde vibrations.
We have the blog, blondevibrations.co.uk. If you're watching this on the screen right now, thank you, editor Becky.
And yeah, while we're saying don't care about the algorithms as a creator, you can care about algorithms as a consumer, and the easiest way to make sure your favourite creators, whatever path they might be on, can succeed is just doing those small things like liking and sharing.
Support the arts.
Yeah.
We are artists.
We are the arts.
I swear. Okay, have a great week.
Yeah.
We're off to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah. If you're watching this, wish Liz a happy birthday. And we're gonna go.
Bye.
Bye.
Love
Bye.
you.
Bye. Oh.